Tired of being called boring? Psychology says your nonfiction obsession means you're actually a genius. Let's face it, fiction lovers often get all the attention. They're portrayed as the creative ones, the dreamers escaping into fantastical worlds. Meanwhile, those of us who prefer diving into biographies, psychology books, or even niche topics like the influence of the Roman Empire on modern marketing are often seen as, well, a little dull. But here's a secret: your preference for nonfiction isn't just a quirky habit, it's a sign of some seriously impressive cognitive traits, according to psychology. But here's where it gets controversial. Some might say fiction is more intellectually stimulating, requiring greater emotional intelligence and the ability to suspend disbelief. Is nonfiction really superior? Let's explore. A fascinating study published in the International Journal of Personality Psychology revealed a strong link between personality traits like intellect and emotional stability and a preference for nonfiction. In simpler terms, if you'd rather learn about real people and real events than escape into fictional narratives, your reading habits might be a reflection of deeper, more profound personality patterns. So, if you're the type who'd rather devour a documentary than a drama, here are 7 distinct traits that psychology suggests you probably possess. 1. You crave understanding more than escape, the why person. While fiction invites you to step into someone else's shoes and imagine, nonfiction beckons you to understand. If your immediate response to chaos is to research, analyze, and take notes instead of mindlessly watching television, then you likely value insight over distraction. You want to decipher the world, not just escape from it. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just about gathering facts, it's about connecting them to form a cohesive understanding of the world. People who gravitate toward nonfiction often score higher on what psychologists call need for cognition. This fancy term simply means you enjoy deep thinking. You're not satisfied with surface-level answers, you want to understand why those answers exist in the first place. For instance, you might find yourself spending hours on YouTube, exploring complex topics like neuroscience or personality theory, just for the fun of it. You're not necessarily trying to show off your knowledge, you're simply wired to connect the dots in ways that others might overlook. While some might find this overwhelming, you find it grounding. Knowledge isn't just information, it's a source of stability. 2. You're comfortable with ambiguity, embracing the gray areas. Here's a paradox: nonfiction readers are drawn to facts, yet they often possess a remarkable comfort with uncertainty. This might sound contradictory, but consider this: real life is rarely neat and tidy. It doesn't adhere to a perfect 3-act structure or offer satisfying resolutions. It's unpredictable, complex, and often leaves questions unanswered. Nonfiction, particularly memoirs and psychology books, excels at capturing this messy reality. If you enjoy these types of reads, chances are you have a higher tolerance for ambiguity, a trait that psychologists associate with open-mindedness and emotional maturity. You don't panic when things are unclear, instead, you analyze, contemplate, and seek out nuance. You don't necessarily need perfectly packaged answers to feel secure. You simply need the truth, even if it's complex, incomplete, or even uncomfortable. This ability to remain calm amidst uncertainty is a rare and valuable asset in a world obsessed with black and white certainty. 3. You're naturally introspective, looking inward. Most nonfiction readers find themselves constantly thinking, okay, but how much of this applies to me? That's the power of nonfiction, it turns your attention inward. You begin to scrutinize your own habits, relationships, and even your internal monologue. This level of self-reflection isn't accidental. A study of avid nonfiction readers revealed that their motivations often revolve around self-improvement, a desire to understand the world, and a quest for personal insight. Nonfiction readers often score high in self-awareness and introspection. You don't just passively absorb information, you actively integrate it into your understanding of yourself. You might read about attachment theory or resilience and immediately apply it to your own life, almost like taking a personality test on steroids. This is incredibly powerful because while fiction fosters empathy for others, nonfiction often cultivates empathy for yourself. You start to recognize your patterns, your triggers, and your cycles. And the more you learn, the less you judge yourself for being human. 4. You're driven by growth, not fantasy, the intrinsic motivator. Let's discuss one of the often overlooked strengths of nonfiction readers: intrinsic motivation. In simple terms, you're driven by curiosity rather than escapism. You don't read to run away from reality, you read to evolve and improve yourself. Curiosity is a form of courage. It means choosing to explore even when you don't have to. This is the driving force behind nonfiction readers. You're not just consuming stories, you're gathering strategies, perspectives, and truths that contribute to your personal growth. You probably have an internal voice that constantly asks, okay, how can I apply this to my life? Even while reading a book, you're strategizing how to implement the knowledge. Whether you're learning about habits, neuroscience, or the impact of culture on our choices, you're always pursuing transformation, no matter how small. And the funny part is, you might not even realize you're doing it. For you, learning isn't a chore, it's a way of life. 5. You have a low tolerance for fluff, seeking substance. If you've ever abandoned a book because it felt too superficial, this one's for you. Nonfiction readers are detail-oriented thinkers. You crave depth, not decoration. You want substance, not fluff. This is supported by research indicating that critical reading, a skill common among nonfiction readers, involves evaluating claims, questioning assumptions, and demanding evidence rather than blindly accepting statements. You likely question sources, challenge assumptions, and mentally fact-check information as you go. And yes, this might make you that skeptical friend in your social circle. When someone says, "I heard this on TikTok," you're the one asking, okay, but where's the data to back that up? It's not that you're cynical, it's that your brain is allergic to vagueness. You'd rather read a 300-page book that challenges your thinking than a short, superficial one that tells you nothing new. Call it selective curiosity, or simply high standards. 6. You're emotionally self-reliant, finding logic in feelings. Here's an underrated truth: people who love nonfiction often find emotional regulation through logic. Instead of spiraling after a bad day, you might reach for a book on mindfulness or behavioral psychology. You analyze your emotions before reacting to them, demonstrating emotional intelligence in action. Emotions aren't simply reactions to the world, they're predictions your brain constructs based on past experiences. Understanding how emotions work can fundamentally change how you experience them. So, when you're drawn to nonfiction, it's not just about curiosity, it's about self-management. You're teaching yourself how to navigate life's chaos with perspective rather than panic. This doesn't mean you don't feel deeply, it simply means you process your emotions through learning. You intellectualize emotion, not as a form of avoidance, but as a source of empowerment. While some people seek distractions to cope, you seek understanding, and that's quietly powerful. 7. You're selective with your time and energy, intentional living. Let's be honest, nonfiction isn't exactly light reading. It requires focus, patience, and often multiple readings to truly absorb the information. If nonfiction is your go-to genre, you likely possess a disciplined attention span and a strong sense of intention behind how you spend your time. You don't pick up a book simply to kill time, you pick it up because it adds something valuable to your mental library. Psychologists refer to this trait as conscientiousness, the tendency to be organized, goal-oriented, and deliberate in your actions. This is the same trait associated with self-discipline, reliability, and long-term success. And it's not just about books. This same energy likely spills over into other areas of your life, your friendships, your work, your hobbies. You'd rather engage in something meaningful than something mindless. Fiction readers might seek emotional immersion, while nonfiction readers seek alignment. You want your actions, and your attention, to matter. Final thoughts: embrace your nonfiction brain. If you're a nonfiction reader, here's the truth: you're not missing out on imagination. You're simply channeling it in a different way. What could be more imaginative than trying to make sense of real life? Then finding patterns in chaos, or learning from the experiences of those who have lived extraordinary lives? Sure, you might not be escaping into a fictional universe, but you're exploring something even more fascinating: the complexity of human behavior, the power of perspective, and the beauty of truth. And that's not dull, that's depth. So, the next time someone gives you